In this vlog, we would like to see the implementation of Drift database in your Flutter application. What is a Drift database and why do we use it? Drift database is built over the default SQLite database which we use in almost all the mobile applications where we require a local database to be used in our application. So now, why we need to use Drift and what is the importance of Drift? So it was previously called as moor, which is now renamed to Drift now. So this particular database was previously represented as moor database and which is now renamed to Drift. So in this part of the tutorial, let's try to get started with this particular Drift database tutorial and try to implement a simple example so that you can understand how we implement Drift database in our Flutter applications. So now let's get started with this particular tutorial. So the first prerequisite is we need to add the required dependencies here. You can find here we have added Drift, SQLite 3 here and path provider, path, and also under the dev dependencies we have added Drift dev and build runner. So these are the version numbers which I have added. These are the current latest ones and I will be providing you the link to the documentation. There you can find the latest versions of these particular libraries. I suggest you to go through that particular documentation and add the libraries whenever you are trying to use this particular tutorial, because you can make sure you are using the updated library to avoid any code level issues. Let's get started with the coding, and before getting started with the main.dart file, I would like to show you how we create a database. So when it comes to the database, again the first thing we do is like we create tables, right? So let's start creating tables, and for which I would like to create one more file here instead of using the main.dart file so that it will be clear for us in terms of coding. So I would be naming this particular file like data.dart, and even you need not specify dot here, so just specify data here. Now we are going to create a table. So let us consider the name of the table to be product here. So the first thing is like we need to import Drift here. So we have added the dependencies, right? So let's try to import Drift here. And the next one is like you need to specify data dot generated file we need to generate. So for which I'm specifying it. This is the name for the generated file like data.g.dart. So this particular file will be generated so as to make use of the database in our main.dart file. So we are specifying this particular part here so as to generate a file by making use of which we can access our database. Okay, so don't get confused. Once we have completed with this particular data.dart file, I will be clearly showing you how we will be generating that particular file. Okay, so let's try to create class here, and the name of the class is products, and again you can just change the name according to your requirement. So this particular class products extends table here, and inside the table let us try to specify the fields which we require in our database. Okay, the first thing I require is like column here, and which will be of the type id and of type integer because we just want to auto increment it every time. Get id of type integer here because we want to auto increment this every time rather than manually providing any value. Okay, so now the second field we are going to require is like text column, and this will be like title or name. So whatever you can just specify. I'm just specifying title for now, and this is of the type text here. Okay, and if you want you can also add few more fields. So let's try to add one more field here and get started with our database creation. So I will be naming this like description for our product, and again this will be of type text here. Let's create a view where we try to fetch the data from the database here by writing an query here, an SQL query. You may think like in terms of SQL how we write a query to fetch the data from the database from the particular table, right? So for example, like select star from emp. So here emp is a table name. So in the same way, let us try to create a class which is of a type abstract here. So abstract class products view. So why we are specifying here the class name to be products view is like we are extending it with view here. So what is a view here again? So the simple thing, whenever you get any particular doubt here, you can just tap on it and you can get to know some documentation. As Flutter is an open source, so you can just go through all the methods here. So here defines a view to be used with drift. The particular view will be represented here, that is which we are going to be used with our drift database. It might sound confused for now, but just wait till the end of this tutorial, you will be getting a good clarity. So products, and here we are trying to get the products, and now it's time to write our query as select. So this you might have already known, select, and within the brackets products dot select anything again here, like we have id, description and title. So title, I just want to select it from, and here we need to provide the table here. So what is the table we have here is like products table, right? So specify it, so which we have specified here, right? So make use of it. And now to generate a dot data dot g dot dart file which we have specified here. Now we are going to provide the data, like we are going to provide the class and this particular products view here to our drift database. So how we'll provide is like annotate this particular method with drift database and specify the tables here. So how many tables do we have here is like, how many tables do we have here? We only have a products table here. So let's specify products, and if you have multiple tables, you can just add a comma here and specify the another table name. But for now we only have a single table. I am specifying it in terms of array so that you can add multiple tables according to your requirement. And now comes our view here. Every table will have its own view. Here our products table has a products view. So specify the products view over here with the help of views. And again I'm specifying with the help of an array here so that you can specify multiple views again. So product view, add a semicolon here, create a database class here. So class database which extends, so this will provide us a query executor $database. So in our coming tutorials we will be going to see each and everything in detail, but this part of the tutorial I just want to show you like how we create a basic database first, so that after creating a database we'll be going through one by one in detail. So database, specify the query executor which is our SQL query, and super, and now override it, specify schema version here. So this schema version is used in version updates, so whenever you try to upgrade your database. And now let's try to generate the data.g file here. If you see here, we are running this particular command like flutter pub run build underscore runner and build here. So we are trying to generate data.g dart file now. Once it's completed running successfully, just try to close the lib folder and reopen it. And here we can observe the data.g.dart file, by making use of which we can access our database now. Okay, so now let's go to the main.dart file here and continue with our tutorial. So again the first thing is like import native.dart here and import our data.dart file and specify a void main in terms of future here. So void main which is of a type asynchronous, and create our variable final tb equal to database and native database. So Now you have understood why we have imported native.dart here, dot memory. Okay, so if you are having any queries, do let me know in the comment section below, because the main aim of this tutorial is to make sure we create a simple database to use, and in coming tutorials we'll be going in detail about everything if required. Okay, so await, as we have specified asynchronous, right? So we are making use of the await calls here. So db dot, now here comes our CRUD operations. So let us specify select here, and we need to get our table name. Make use of the db here and dot. You can see we have got our products table. So from where we got this particular products table name here, you can see from data.g.dart file. This is our generated database. If you clearly observe, we have specified this particular class, right? So with the help of this, we have got this particular abstract class. Abstract class, by making use of which we can fetch the data which is inside our database. Okay, dot get. So now we are trying to print them for each, specify for each, and try to print. So first of all, what is there inside our database to print? There is nothing, right? It's an empty database, just we have created it. So now let's try to add some data and then let's try to print it. Okay, so await db dot into, so we are trying to insert some data into our database products dot insert products companion. So what is a products companion? So here it is redirecting us to the data.g.dart file again. So with the help of the products companion, we are able to insert the data into our database dot insert, and here you can see we have got title and description. But just wait, we have specified id title description, right? But here id is of type auto increment, of type integer and auto increment. So it will not ask for us to specify id, it will just auto increment it every time. So for the title, let's specify something like Flutter drift, and we'll just add it to the next line. And in the description, drift database. Okay, so let's specify a semicolon here. And now let's try to make use of this particular statement now. So I will just cut it from here and add it over here. And now let's try to run this particular code and see the output once. So I have got my emulator here, but one thing I just wanted to specify you before running this code, there is nothing to see in the emulator. We will only try to observe our console here where we get the output. Clearly you can see we are trying to insert some data and we are trying to fetch the data. Here our application is now installed successfully, and here you can see we have got the information. And for your just confirmation, I would like to copy this and create one more insertion. So when you try this particular thing, just try to rewrite everything so that it will be a good practice for you. Tutorial on drift. Let's try to print this. So here you can see we have got our two insertion printed now, and clearly you can observe id is being auto incremented. And when you observe the emulator, there is nothing to see because we have not specified any code. We are just making use of the void main here and trying to print the data into our console. This is the basic tutorial on drift implementation in your Flutter application. Hope you understand this particular tutorial, because my aim in this particular tutorial is to just make it easy for the beginners to get started with the drift. So in our coming tutorials, if you like this particular tutorial, we will be going into the much deeper implementation drift based local database in our Flutter applications. Just let me know in the comment section below if you want more interesting tutorials on this particular topic so that I can add them. And the code for this tutorial is available in the description section below. And if you like this tutorial, do like, share and subscribe to our channel for more interesting content on Flutter.